Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we're here for the racing debrief. And yeah, we had a pretty wild race to go over. So we'll dive into the cup race in a moment. But first the truck race. And I mean that was a solid race. I enjoyed it. I definitely uh kind of forgot that it was on, to be honest. And then I came home, I was like, oh yeah, truck race is on because I worked during the day. So it was cool to come home and watch that, and just enjoyed it. And Christian Eckes, Kyle Busch were the two trucks that were really gone that whole race. Pretty interesting, of course, at the restart, seeing what Christian Eckes could do against Kyle Busch, because Kyle Busch has had the advantage on that for a good amount of it. Eckes, his team worked on the truck a little bit, got him in a good spot, and ultimately that paid off from getting the win. Um, Throughout that, the whole race, he seemed like he was gonna be in a good spot to go for it. So not surprised that he got the win, but I mean Kyle Busch is coming towards the end of that race, and yeah, it was definitely gonna be close. Lap traffic, Christian Eckes was struggling with, of course, that cost him the race in Bristol last year in the fall. So something he struggled with. I don't know if it's just the truck or just how he races, but I mean lap traffic obviously for the leader is always difficult at Bristol, but I mean he seemed to be struggling with a little bit more than I've seen a lot of drivers struggle with it. But yeah, I mean, Kyle Busch is right there. I think one more lap and Kyle Busch gets him. But yeah, just a good race overall. You had a little bit of a fight after during the race. Nick Sanchez and Stuart Friesen had a little bit of an issue. I thought even more on Stuart Friesen the issue in general. The final caution of the race. Sanchez comes through the corner, remember, turn two, whatever. He's there. Stuart Friesen goes up, kind of gets into him. I mean, it seemed like Sanchez got squeezed in the wall, but Stuart Friesen wanted to go and try to fight him on the pits. So, I mean, there's a few guys in the trucks that are a bit obnoxious, in my opinion. I think Stuart Friesen's one of them. Matt Craft. Those are two guys that I think are kind of lame in the trucks. So when they're mad about something, I mean, it's not surprising. They tend to be the guys that uh, have issues with minuscule things. So, I mean, Stuart Friesen mad because he took himself out. I guess that's what it seemed like to me. But interesting. We're getting a little bit of fights there. Good to see. I mean, we need a few more fights here or there. I think that's good. All right. So yeah, that was that. Truck race is fun. Not as much to talk about as the cup race though. So we'll jump into that. Cup race absolutely wild. Everybody's saying, let's go back to concrete Bristol in the spring, right? I mean, of course, that's always been a thing. So, um, going to that again is really something people wanted to see. So, how would that, how would that play out, right? Would people go? And I mean, they had some good crowds for the amount of, people that went in 2019, the last spring race that had fans. This year was definitely better. Obviously, NASCAR, the place it was at in 2019 compared to now, a lot different. I think that, the low point for the sport probably was 2018, 2019. Probably 18. It was real bad. Um, that was that was an interesting time. 17, 18 was, whew, that was real wild. So coming out of that, going 2019, attendance still wasn't killing it, right? I think that NASCAR seen an increase in popularity 2020, had a decent boost, and then what we've seen now this year, 2024, has been, I mean, insane, right? It's been awesome to see. So seeing that increase, that boost, new people coming in, I think that only helps. But again, comparing the people that were there in 2019, I mean, they had the turns, seating was closed. That's how bad it was Bristol in the spring that year. In 2019, of course, 2020, Bristol Spring Race did happen, but it was completely closed to public for COVID. 21, 22, 23 was all Bristol dirt. So it had been a long time since, spring Bristol happened. Had a little bit of a throwback vibe, not the track at least, with the walls painted different colors. But I like Bristol spring. I mean, it's always cool. I like the vibe of it during the day compared to the night. I think it's cool to have both races. And I think Bristol's one of those tracks that, if I was to say what tracks deserve two races, Bristol's one of the few I'd put on that list. I put Bristol, I'd put Martinsville. No, it's not being right now, but I put Martinsville, Talladega, Daytona. I guess Atlanta earns it now with its current layout, but for me, I mean, I put Charlotte. Charlotte at 2. Charlotte 2 dates. I'm good with the Rovals, one of them though. But yeah, I think Daytona, Talladega, Bristol, Martinsville, Charlotte. Those are the 5 I'd really, really say need 2 dates. That's it. Everything else can have 1. Again, Charlotte I'd give 2, but it's 2 different track layouts. I don't think Charlotte Oval needs 2. Now, that may be controversial, but that's just my thought on it. But that's a whole nother topic for another video. What tracks deserve 2 dates. But, yeah, again, back to that discussion. So would people show up? And they did. The crowd looked pretty solid. I mean, it did look partially empty, but it's Bristol, right? Like, that's got 80, 90, 100,000 seats, whatever. Like, it's got a real lot of seats. So it's not like you didn't sell out a smaller grandstand, right? If the capacity of the track was 40,000, 50,000, and it wasn't full, I'd be like, okay, this is concerning. But I think seeing Bristol half full, because again, that would put it at about 50,000, 60,000 people. So I don't think it's terrible. The racing itself, though, that's a key thing. How was the racing at Bristol? Absolutely insane. Then Goodyear brought a really, really soft tire, right? I would have been saying, gotta do something, right? Short tracks in general. Bristol's a little different than what you get at Martinsville or Richmond, Phoenix, maybe even New Hampshire. Throw those tracks in there. The mile tracks, the quarter mile tracks, and Martinsville just being kind of flat. That style is different than Bristol just because it's super banged. But again, short tracks have struggled a little bit. This doesn't use the short track package, though. It does use the, I think, intermediate package. So it's its own thing. But again, there's that discussion from Phoenix last week. What can you do? What makes the racing better? Is it horsepower? Is it tires? Smaller brakes, smaller tires, different diffuser setup? What is it? And I think one of the things that we've seen is the tires. The tires didn't wear out at Phoenix at all. Or at a lot of the tracks. The tires just don't wear, right? Tires are rock hard. Super solid. Nothing's going to happen. They're just chilling, right? I mean, again, tap on this. This is solid. It's like my desk. It's not falling apart, right? It's not going to wear out after 2 seconds. So that's your issue. Tire wear didn't happen, so you just had a super high focus on track position. Okay, I got my track position. Pit crew don't mess it up. All right, I'm going to win the race, right? I'm going to be top 5. I can't pass anybody. You can't pass me. I can't pass you. We're good. So, Bristol completely threw it out the window. With the tires that wore out after 40, 50 laps, you were done. Like, it was over. So, I mean, it was so fun to watch, so exciting. I mean, it was the first time that I've watched a race in a long time that I can say I sat there and wanted to see everything, right? Now, I watch the whole race. I don't skip it. I don't whatever. But, it's Sunday. I typically do my laundry. Okay, let me go throw my stuff in the dryer, put my shirts in, hang them up to dry, whatever. I missed 10 laps. Cool. Let me go in the kitchen, get some food. I was waiting, right? I had my clothes in the washer, had to throw in the dryer. I was waiting. I'm like, all right, we got ads. I'm running in there, throwing it in. Like, that was the thing that I was Just so much. I gotta watch the whole lap. I gotta see everything. Normally, a few laps in, let's see what everybody's saying on Twitter. What's people saying on Reddit? No. Phone down. I was very, very into it. Which again, I'm always paying attention to the whole race, right? But normally I'm not stepping, or normally I'm stepping away for a minute doing something. I was focused on that screen. I was watching the whole thing. Like, and that was how I just felt about it, just because it was so interesting and so different, right? It had been years since we really seen the tire wear and the passing that we seen. I mean, start of the race, I don't know, Denny Hamlin had the lead for a little bit. Chase Elliott comes up and passes him. 2 seconds later, you got Martin Truex up there, Kyle Larson up there, Ty Gibbs up there. They're all passing each other, just going through, 5-6 laps in the lead. All right, Denny Hamlin's back in the lead. All right, Ty Gibbs is back in the lead. Martin Truex is in the lead, right? Like, they're all just cycling through the lead after 5 laps. I think the end of the race, there was 54 lead changes, which is the most on a short track. So, like, that's insane. Because I think the most ever is 88 at Talladega, like 2011, with a tandem drafting, I believe. So, that's wild. 58 at Bristol. So, yeah. I mean, it's just crazy. Again, the drivers that go through the lead, fall back, go, and again, after 40 laps, your tires are done. So everybody had to, save their tires. If not, you're spinning out. Kyle Busch spun out a few times. He was the main one that really spun a few times just from the tire wear. Tyler tried to stay out after the first caution. Did not work. He spun, caused another crash. Zane Smith Arca braked into him. Like, it was just insane. The difference in the drivability that they had out there just after a few laps. I mean, they brought out another set of tires. Goodyear's like, here you go. They're like mid-race doing like PR. Like, they're putting it on Twitter. They're showing it on the broadcast of, we should have a tire that doesn't, whatever, fall off as much. And all the fans are like, this is amazing. Broadcasters, this is amazing. Most of the drivers, especially the older drivers, who the younger ones weren't maybe as big a fan of it, but the older drivers that are used to it, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex, Brad Keselowski, they enjoyed it. Obviously, they were the top 3 at the end, but they enjoyed it, and I think that's just the thing. You get the people that, and a lot of people haven't seen a race like that, right? That's the old style race. That gave me a vibe of, watching a race in 2006, 2007, 2008, when I was real little. Like, the first race I can really remember watching, it gave more of a vibe of that, right? That's how I felt. It brought me back to that, right? The race that I watched when I was younger. Maybe we didn't have as much tire fall off then, as, I might have had in the 90s or 80s, but even then, what we had, 20 years ago, racing-wise, or, 15 years ago, close to 20 now, like, that is what you want to see. That's exciting, right? So, hopefully that also goes to the, the package of it. I mean, I don't think Goodyear wants their tires that fall apart for 40 laps, because, again, they also got to market it. And if here's a casual view and you turn on and Goodyear's got their tires falling off after, 10 laps, 15, 30 laps, 40 laps, whatever it is, again, it's marketing, and you got to say what's good for Goodyear doesn't always provide the best racing. And that's part of the thing, right? I think it was after like Indy 2008 when all the tires were blowing every 10 laps, which is a completely different scenario. That was tires blowing just because they were trash, right? These weren't trash. They were designed to be that way. But it's the same trap. I mean, it was an F1 thing that they had before. Like, I think it was probably 2013, 2012, whatever, when the race all the tires were blowing, because it was the same, like, a similar thing where it's like, okay, bring a soft tire, and they went too far. Now, I don't know, right? Did you go too far? Is Goodyear going to be okay with this tire? Probably not. And they're doing PR mid-race. One of their people is in the media center. forgot the dude's name, but he's one of the people from Goodyear doing a thing talking about the tires mid-race. Probably not what they're going for then. But again, if they can keep the tires at a similar amount, and again, I don't think the issue really is the tires. I don't think Goodyear messed up. I think the track, for whatever reason, wasn't taking the rubber, right? That's the main issue. The track didn't take the rubber, so the tires weren't falling apart just because Goodyear brought some shit. They brought, the tire that they were wanting to try, a tire that would have been good no matter what. Right? That's what everybody wants to see, is a tire that wears out. But it needs to be, a little bit on the track. And I don't know how that works, or I don't know how you can put it on the track. I mean, we can't just go and say Bristol be better, right? It's down to conditions, weather, everything. It's a little cloudy, so it might have been a little colder there. I think the temperature was like 82. I don't know what the temperature that Bristol needs to take rubber, but it just wasn't taking any rubber down on the surface. You didn't see that the whole time. So, again, that's part of it. So I don't think we should sit here and criticize Goodyear, and I don't want to, and I don't think that people should, because all that's going to do is just negatively impact, and they're going to go back and make a hard tire that's like going to last 1,000 miles and never wear out, and nobody's going to be able to pass. Right? Because you need some sort of tire fall off that creates action, that creates excitement, because that's something that's going to help. And if they can do something like this again in Martinsville, bruh, we're going to be in a great spot. So, I think the race is brilliant. I just liked how all the drivers were able to go through the field. I mean, Ty Gibbs, after having that penalty, coming through the field, winning stage 2 was amazing. Obviously, Ty Gibbs is my favorite driver, so I want to see him come to the field and, win the race. He didn't do that, but he did win the stages. Very dominant. Joe Gibbs Racing as a team, killing it. They had cars 1, 2, 3, 4 for a while. Towards the end, though, everybody's tires were going off. It was an insane finish. Everybody's getting flat tires or just wearing out because nobody wanted to pit. That was the other thing. Bristol, if you pit, you're going 2 laps down. Even just with, you got to pit on your part of the track. So the pits are super short under green flags because it's only on the straight that you're on. So if you're on the front straight, you only do the front straight. You're on the back, you only do the back straight. But the risk in that, if you pit and there's a caution, race over. So it kind of just led to everybody staying out and wearing their tires out. So, I mean, I don't know. I didn't know who's going to win till the end. I mean, nobody really did. I mean, look at Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex are going to win, but, I mean, their tires could fall off if they don't save it enough, right? Like, anything can happen. We had 5 people in the end on the lead lap. What a race. What a race. I mean, half the top 10 was a lap down. That's insane. That didn't happen since like 2004. Like, that's the stuff that's crazy to see, awesome to see. And I mean, that was such a good race. Oh, I loved it. Oh, I loved it so much. Give me that again. Just show me more of that. Oh, man. What a race. What a race. Yeah. I don't know. I just hope the Goodyear doesn't get scared by it and go completely opposite direction. Hopefully there's enough people that said they liked it. I mean, NASCAR, some of their people said they liked it. Again, commentary, everybody seemed to like it. Whether it's the broadcasters, I mean, they all liked it. Mike Joy, Kevin Harvick, Clint Boyer, they all liked it. All the, people at the end of the race, Fox at their little desk studio thing, they all liked it. Most of the drivers seemed to be okay with it. I mean, some of them didn't, but most of them seemed to be okay with it. Fan reaction seemed to be pretty positive. Literally the only people that were scared about it was Goodyear, so hopefully everybody's saying, hey, this is good, this wasn't a problem, won't put them in a direction where they go the opposite way. We don't want to see that. So hopefully people just keep it more positive towards them, and we'll get more racing like that. Again, I don't think it's going to be as drastic. I think they go a little harder on the tire, but even then, it's about the track not taking rubber more than anything else. So bring that same tire to Martinsville, please. Bring that tire to Richmond. Bring that tire to Dover. Bring that tire to New Hampshire. Bring that tire to Phoenix. Bring the tire everywhere, please. And if we can just get some tire fall off, something that will make the racing better, other tracks. The short tracks, 1.5 miles, is fine. But the short tracks, road courses. Tracks under a mile is what I meant to say when I said 1.5 miles. Tracks under a mile, the tracks that are a mile, road courses. Some of that just needs some tire fall off. So this is the right direction. Again, if Goodyear wants to go a little hard on the tire, I'm okay with that. But please just keep the tire at a similar area, and racing will just continue to be brilliant. And finally, we can maybe see this car go in the right direction. Maybe it didn't. Again, the tires being super hard and made it at least part of the problem. So NASCAR doesn't want to give more horsepower. They'll burn up the tires, make the tires softer. And I think we've seen that. I think we've seen it. I think we've seen what we want to see. So give me more of that. But either way, thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. And we'll see you guys next week for the racing debrief again. We have Circuit of the Americas for trucks, Xfinity, and Cup. And we're back talking about Formula One from the Australian Grand Prix. That's going to be a wild day because I got to work on Saturday. As I do on most Saturdays, I'll take it off. So, got to work Saturday, come home, watch the truck race, try to watch the Xfinity race, and then F1 is on at 1 in the morning, because in Australia. So, I'll get out of work at 10, trying to watch all that by 1 o'clock. I don't know, but I'm going to get it all done. I'm going to watch it all. Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready for next weekend. But, either way, thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know down below what you thought of the race, and we'll see you guys in the next one.